All right, let's talk about Timini Egbuson. You guys know who Timini Egbuson is, right? 40 plus, single, never been married. Red flag. Red flag. Toby and Tribe says skills to make it work. You know, emotions no be your mates. You know, but yeah, absolutely, that would be one thing to, because I think it's the same skills that's required for any type of relationship, but those skills are much harder in certain contexts than the others, right? But that's a good one. Let me see here. Let's talk about Timini Egbuson. Let's see what this young man is up. If you don't know who he is, an Hollywood actor. Okay, young man. I don't know. How old is he? Is he up to 40? I don't think so. Maybe in his 30, right? But he's going to say something here that I'm going to... Yeah, I'm gonna agree with it. Timini Egbuson is also younger brother to the great Dakore Egbuson, who also I've had the privilege of meeting a long time ago. That I met her in Maryland. They were here for an award. A very pleasant person. I met her along with Carolina Danjuma. That's her name, right? Anybody know who that is? I think she's also on the Housewives of Lagos or something like that. This is Timini right here. Okay. So he made a statement. Let me see if you guys don't know who Dakore is. Let me see if I can find a picture of Dakore. Now, what name is this? Is this like a Delta people's name? I think so, right? Sounds more like Delta or maybe Akwa Ibom people, right? What y'all think? All right, good. That's Dakore right there. That's the older senior sister to Timini. So let's see what he's talking about. He made a statement. He made a couple of statements that I actually have seen today. And I'm wondering if I can find the second one, but let's look at this one right here. Let's take it from this one. Let's listen to this.
One of my biggest, maybe I could say biggest regrets is not settling down or like not picking a wife like
early enough.
No,
to
I wish I had picked someone that one of my young loves that by now we have. Maybe I must have had like a 14-year-old kid running around. And the thing about finding true love is that you can't even be guarded 1%. Like you have to be able to just lose your guard. I'll just say.
All right.
Honestly, one of my biggest.
I'll let that run again.
Maybe I could say biggest regrets is not settling down or like not picking a wife like
early enough.
I wish I had picked someone that one of my young loves that by now we have. Maybe I must have had like a 14-year-old kid running around. And the thing about finding true love is that you can't even be guarded 1%. Like you have to be able to just lose your guard. I'll just say. Honestly, one of my biggest.
He said you have to be able to
maybe
lose
I could say biggest
your
regrets is not
guard.
settling down or like not picking a wife like.
He said a lot in that. It said so much in that small statement. Now I haven't listened to the full thing, but on Instablog Nigeria here, the caption says, my greatest regret in life is not settling down early. Actor Timini Egbuson. I'll let him share the stage here with his sister while he's searching for a wife. I am looking for a wifey. Anyway, Toby and Try says Bayelsa. So they're Bayelsa. Okay. Bayelsa, that's like Akwa Ibom area now. That's like half of Port Harcourt, half of that used to be a state that used to be a part of River, right? I might be rough. My Nigerian geography is not proper. Mario said he needs to shut up, creep. What did he do now? Okay, I'm covering these people most of the time for the first time, so I don't know what they did in the past. I'm just going by what they said in this moment, so pardon me. Okay, well, if you did something crazy, terrible, creepy in the past, I'm not part of it, I promise. Okay, but let's just talk about this word today. Anyway, let me look in the comments area. Let's see what people are saying about this, right? I wanted to know, how old is he? How old is Timini, first of all? How old is Timini Egbuson? He's 36 years old. So he's not even 40 plus yet. And he's feeling the heat. Can he at least wait until he's 40? Jesus. Anyway, I guess he's tired of being single. He's tired now. Anyway, this is where I say thank you, Jesus. I know I bought the Jesus Christ, that belle 13 years ago, when I think say my parents go kill me when they know. Last I keep am. Now I never marry, but I have a whole teenage child that keeps me going. Interesting. That's a person's testimony there. They're saying they almost deleted the baby 13 years ago, but that keeps them going. Shout out to that person. So somebody says, so what is he trying to say in essence? He's saying a lot too in that essence. So he's saying 40 plus people, single, never been married, are basically red flags. He said a lot. I'll go back to his words in a second. And that's where relocating to a village to disguise as a poor man comes in. Anyway, on the same episode here, there's another video floating around where he said, if you are single and you are in Yankee, you are in UK, you are in Canada, you are in the Western world, that he matches better with those kind of people than the people in Nigeria, because it feels like you guys don't have options. Anyway, I'll leave that alone. Anyway, let's continue with this one topic. Somebody said, no truer words. When you start doing well, you can hardly tell who loves you for you. Okay, so that's when he said, because he was saying Nigerian girls, he can't, when you make it. Okay, he said that here too, when you make it, become older, obviously, there's a higher chance you will make it, that you are doing better financially. And then it becomes harder for you to tell who truly loves you for you, right? So this person is repeating kind of that, like, no truer words. When you start doing well, you can hardly tell who loves you for you, relationships or platonic friendships wise. Okay. Another person said, at a stage when you start progressing, it will be hard to know who truly loves you. All right. So it's hidden. See, I always tell you, anytime there's a viral clip that's going, that's because there's a level of truth to it, at least a small level of truth to it, even if we can add some context to it, but there's a level of it's hidden nerves. That's why it's going viral. The more money a guy has, the harder it is to find true love. They're saying it, they're repeating it. Somebody said, valid point. I always have this feeling that it's very cool and nice to settle down early. To me, it's the best and might even turn out to be your best decision. Okay, so I've had this conversation in the past year. There are men that are advising men to wait until they are 35 and above. Okay, this one is barely 35 and is already complaining. There are also women who advise, they don't say age wise, they say make sure you go through education and everything, make sure you have your career before you think about it. We also get those advice. It's some of those advice that are very easy. They roll off your tongue easily and they make common sense until you start to dig in a little bit deeper, and then you're like, okay, you're not wrong, but maybe we can add some context to that. Right? Maybe, right? Because it gets real the older you get, the more the realer life gets, right? It won't be as simple as talking points. Anyway, Spicer said, finding love early is beautiful before life experiences mess with your trust issues. That's another point somebody is making. Okay. Hold on, let me just make sure that all is well here. Hold on one second. All right, pardon my manners. Let me come to the chat small before I continue with the comments. But he's still very young, if not late 20s, then early 30s. He's 36. Would that change your mind? Would that change anything for you? Right? Because I do think that early 30s, late 20s is. I actually believe that it's never too late, because what you have is now. I believe that in the grand scheme of things. Okay. The only people I don't want to be saying that is people who are older telling younger people to wait till their own age. I think that's terrible advice. I think context matters, right? And I think where everybody is coming from is different from people to people. If you are of age, you're of age. It is what it is. Those are the cards you're dealt. It's never too late. All right. He said, look at the way he's sitting. Dating 19 years old at 30 plus will do that. He's a weirdo. He's single. He can date 19 years old. Correct me, what's going on? Brother Ben, come and save me here. A 36-year-old man cannot date a 19-year-old. Is that a rule somewhere in the book? Is that what makes people creep? Because what do you want to say to 60-year-old who are married, who are dating 90 years old? They must have a different name. It can't be creep. It has to be some other name, right? Okay, keep in mind, we're talking about Nigeria as a society, right? D-Love says, I'm proud of him for recognizing you have to lose your guard. You caught that last minute. You caught that part, right? There are 40-plus-year-old men running around these streets and don't get that point yet. No, they don't. They don't realize that their guards are up, right? Because they're also telling themselves, I'm rich now. I can find whatever I want. I can date any girl as young as I want. But the issues are deeper than that. I wish your issue was as simple as any age. The issues are deeper than that. And I think he really he caught that with that phrase, lose guard, that part. But we're going to talk about that more in a second here. More Fresh says, excuse me. Yep, all that weirdo stuff with young girls. Didn't even know he was that old. What weirdo stuff are you guys talking about? You guys have to share something with me behind the scenes later on. Okay? If it's just as simple as he's dating a 19-year-old, I don't see that as a weirdo. And I just don't. I don't agree with that. But if there's more, let me know. In the comments, they continue. Somebody said, please, when can we sit down and discuss on innovative and constructive ideas to better personal and business growth in these challenging times in Nigeria? That is a very stupid statement considering what we're talking about, right? A lot of people's personal growth is going to happen inside of romantic relationships. Your romantic partner will force you to think a little bit beyond yourself. Especially like he's talking about, the older you get, the more selfish you tend to become, right? If you get into a romantic relationship, all of that will get tested, right? So now, don't talk about relationship anymore. Let's talk about innovative stuff. That's stupid. That's a stupid talking point. We all care about connection. We all crave for connection as much as we care for significance and growth and contribution to society. All of those things will not function well if you don't manage the way you manage your personal relationships. There's no such thing as personal development without talking about personal relationships. Literally, there's no such thing. So it's cute to say, let's just talk about relationships. No, you can't. If you are very good at your personal relationships, you actually become better in the corporate world as well. Genuinely, those that found young love are lucky. They don't know what they have. All right, that's what's up. Now, obviously, not everybody found young love. They found love, but the lack of maturity which everybody will go through got the best of them. Okay, if you married young, if you got with somebody young, you've collected woto from lack of maturity. It's just the reality. That's why you'll be forced to grow, and if you can't grow fast enough, you end up in the ditches, aka i.e. divorce court. All right, and then those kind of people will come out and say, don't do it, don't marry young. They're talking from their own experience. They don't know what they're talking about yet. Okay, so whatever they went through, you will go through it. Even as an older person, you will just be dealing with a different type of problem. Not like you'll be dealing with no problem at all. You'll be dealing with a different type of problem. Okay, potentially before you actually find a person. Somebody said, I feel him. Normally my pikin supposed to be like 11 or 12 years old by now. May God guide our path. Amen. That is a solid prayer. Amen. Finding true love is not hard, just that people ignore what they should check for. So that's hard because the people is part of the equation. So it makes it hard if we're going by your logic. Anyway, let me come back. Let's finish this up really quickly because again the conversation is let me nitpick what he said a little bit and then we'll finish this up. Let's see.
or like not picking a wife like
early
like,
enough.
when I
Yeah,
was,
yeah,
like,
no, to
I
be
wish I had
honest,
picked someone that, like, one of my young loves that we by now we have. Maybe I must have had like a 14-year-old kid running around. And the thing about finding true love is that you can't even be guarded 1%. Like, you have to be able to just.
He said you can't be guarded 1%. You have to be able to lose your guard when you talk about true love, right? For other people, true love means you're pragmatic, not romantic, pragmatic. It means you are thinking everything through, you're extremely cerebral. Unfortunately, that messes with the ideal of true love too, because you kind of like, if we're talking about romantic love, at least you kind of like want to feel like you can rest. You can rest in both your masculinity and your femininity. You want to be able to do that and not have to be thinking about everything every second, right? And you can't do that if your guards are up. And the older you get, naturally, because you get hurt more in life, your guards are up. Naturally, because you have to protect yourself. You feel the need to protect yourself. This is just how life works, right? So is that the reason why people should do it young? No, I say just be self-aware about all of this kind of stuff. If you now know that the older you get, you've been over, like you're looking over your shoulder every second, somebody's about to hurt you. As good as that sounds, security, it's a negative. You group everybody together, they're trying to hurt you, and you might miss out. And it doesn't have to be your fault. It's just the reality of what happens, right? Let me play it.
Lose your guard. I'll just say, you understand? Honestly, one of my biggest, maybe I could say biggest regrets is not settling down or like not picking a wife like
early enough.
When
Yeah. No, to be
I wish
honest,
I had picked someone that, like, one of my young loves.
So if I were him, I wouldn't use the word regrets. You know why I wouldn't use the word regrets? I'll tell you in a second. The word regret is powerful and it works against you as well. So what do we do now? I know. Yeah, I know. Welcome to the real world. It's never really that simple, but it can be that simple once you see patterns after a while, right? The word regret actually provokes a certain part of your emotions, and it's not necessarily beneficial either, More for instance, I believe the girls were very much younger than 19 years old. I actually looked into that story back then. One just finished secondary school in 16, 17. The 19 years old outed him for stringing all of them along to do what? To date. Now 16 young is illegal. We can just call that illegal, right? 16, 17 is illegal, is weird, but there's no excuse for that. That's what happens too if you're lingering around after 30. The higher the chances, especially if you're a superstar like Timini, they will throw themselves at you and you will be tempted, okay? And yeah, you might find yourself in trouble like that. That's additional layer of problems he has to deal with. Self-control. Much energy will have to go into self-control with regards to that. But anyway, like I was saying, 40 plus single, never been married, red flag. Red flag doesn't mean you're a bad person. It just means something you have much more to watch out for, beyond other people, even inside of yourself. Things like your guards are up, that makes you a red flag, right? Things like you start to reflect back into the past and you're now calling it a regret, that also makes it a red flag. It doesn't have to be a regret. It could just be a lesson. It could just be a self-awareness, another angle to self-awareness, right? Because if you look at these poisons, blame, that also involves self-blame. Number 5, okay? That also involves self-blame. But as you can see, there's a standalone there. Number 6, guilt, right? Guilt, regret. There's nothing wrong with regrets, and I'm just saying you don't want that to be an overwhelming energy that you carry around. Instead, what we all need to learn is learn where we are today, learn how to appreciate where we are today, and learn how to make the most out of where we are today. When you're telling a 19-year-old to don't worry until they are 35 before they think about marriage, you are actually teaching them to take now for granted. See what I'm saying? It doesn't work. It doesn't work either, right? Because you're teaching them from your standpoint, you're teaching them, right? They need to do the same thing you would have to do. Count your days, like Herbert Wigwe said, right? Learn how to count your days. Learn how to value every moment. This moment, if you're single, if you're married, it doesn't matter what status you are. This moment is your biggest blessing. What are you going to do with it is the question. And this is applicable to wherever you find yourself in life. Regret, I would change that to lessons. What are the lessons that I've learned thus far? Right? Yes, it's semantics, but not really, because the word regret carry a lot of weight and a lot of energy. I would just be careful with that. I would say my lessons, I would use the same words, but I would call it lessons instead of regret. But say was sleeping with them. Oh, he was sleeping with them. Oh, that's too bad. He can get in trouble. He can get himself in big trouble with that. But he has access to all of them. Even the older ones like him. They like him too, right? I would think. But anyway, it's the pretty boy creep of Nollywood, according to you guys. I didn't say that. You guys said it. We'll look out for more on Timini. We'll see if he has more that we can learn from his behavior or what not to do. Right? But what he shared with us today is on point, which is the older you get, you have to learn to lose guard. If you're younger, you're not chopping breakfast like that, so you don't have to put so much energy into that. Now, lose guard is a very difficult thing to do, because you know what you know. I can't be asking you to unlearn what you know. With regards to how human beings can hurt you, the closest people to you can hurt you really badly. Remember the Usher story, right? Sometimes they are your mother. Usher had issues with his mother too. A lot of these people have issues with the closest people to them. But this is the real world, right? So if you know enough of these things, you start to realize that, okay, all right, this is just a reality. Let me find someone that make me feel safe, and then we'll build on top of that from there, But shout out to Timini. Not feeling you in our chat yet, sorry. But let's get to Monique. We have some stuff to talk about with Monique today, and I'll be back in 20 seconds. Before I leave, what is your take on what is the ideal age for people to get married for you? Just share that with me in the comments in the chat. I'll be back in 20 seconds.
It's your love that I've been missing. I miss all your hugs, your touching and kissing. Make love on the floor, the couch in the kitchen. One love enough, we done enough.